It just can't be that Obama blew it on this thing. No, his media has to make it into something bigger, something more ominous to our sainted president, something like first of all, just an insane passion and fever on the part of the right that, oh my God, people are coming to attack us when we all know they're just little schlubs.
After an all too brief pause in their ceaseless efforts to turn a 23-year-old loser's failed attempt to detonate his underwear into something just this side of the burning of the White House in 1812, Republicans have now resumed warning that the end is nigh, and the U.S. government has ordered new security measures at airports around the globe, and both efforts have hit slight snags.
One of the slight snags is the things the president himself has said about the Crotch bomber.
An isolated extremist.
And using a phrase not used in discussions of war, but rather discussions of courtroom justice.
A passenger allegedly tried to ignite an explosive device on his body, setting off a fire.
What is the story here, Mr. Brennan, President Obama's White House counterterrorism chief?
Every other day, the system has worked so far this year.
No, it hasn't. Anyway, the president's sort of walking around with egg on his face about all of this. So the Obama media comes up with what amounts to a conspiracy against him.
Well, I was speaking to White House folks earlier today, and it's clear the president is still deeply concerned and troubled, even angry at the intelligence lapses. So the question here is, why didn't the centralized system of intelligence that was set up after 9/11, why didn't it work? Is this conspiracy or cock-up? Is it a case of the agencies having so much rivalry between them that they were more determined to stymie each other or this centralized system rather than dealing with the terrorist threat? Or was it just there were so many dots no one could connect them because it was just all too random to figure out? Seems that the president is leaning very much towards thinking this was a systemic failure by individuals who maybe had an alternative agenda.
May have had an alternative agenda. They didn't tell somebody in the spy world, didn't tell somebody else in the spy world, so this guy couldn't get caught. This is a conspiracy against the president. By the way, I should explain who that is. That is Richard Wolffe, a totally discredited former journalist who had to be fired from Newsweek magazine because it turned out he was working for Democratic strategists and carrying White House water while carrying the Newsweek reporter brand around.
Wow!
And he was barred from the air on the Bathtub Boys show for a while, and he wrote that insider book, Renegade, about Obama.
So there's a conspiracy.
So there is a conspiracy. And that conspiracy charge finds Bathtub Boy blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God, I think we're onto something big here.
Are people thought to have been deliberately withholding information so that the dots could not be connected?
So President Obama, the sainted one, would be blamed for something that really wasn't his fault? Richard Wolffe, please answer.
The question is, was this information that was shared? Remember, there was some sharing of information, but it involves the father of this, in the end, a terrorist who walks in to see the CIA officials in a foreign embassy. This is an American embassy in a foreign country. And, that information, was it shared fully? Why wasn't it shared fully? The question there is, again, cock-up or conspiracy?
Question is, screw up, we'll put it in American slang, screw up or conspiracy. And conspiracy against whom? Well, a conspiracy against poor old President Obama, who was just enjoying shave ice, basketball, golf, and picnics on the beach on his much-deserved vacation, and somebody was trying to make him look like he was asleep at the switch on terrorism.
Let me see if I understand this. Somebody in the intelligence business buried the information about Umar to make Obama look bad.
That is precisely what Richard Wolffe was saying.
What is the implication there, that there is at least a possibility that somebody understood how serious this could be, and yet withheld information to make some other part of the counterterrorism system look bad?
That has got to be an area that the White House is looking into.
Okay, now let's remember, Richard Wolffe is not a guy just opining here. Remember the start of the conversation.
Well, I was speaking to White House folks earlier today, and
this is the message from the White House. There is an active conspiracy against us. And oh my God, is Bathtub Boy beside himself and desperate to find an answer to save our heroic president.
Well, certainly, not to get too far ahead of what the information the White House doesn't have, and presumably thus you don't have, and certainly I don't have. But that seems to me that what you're describing, at least in theory, is a far greater threat than a guy with explosives on an airplane, whether or not he succeeds in blowing them up.
Okay, the bigger threat is the spy agencies of President Obama are working against him. And that is a bigger thing than one guy with his underwear loaded with explosives. After all he can do is kill 289 people. This conspiracy can bring down the presidency. And let's not forget, this is what the White House thinks, according to Richard Wolffe.
Ariana, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Richard's last point there, forgive me if I'm a little flustered, but that seems rather startling to contemplate that in a day and age when presumably we're all, whatever we think of the threat of terror in this world, presumably we're all on the same side if we have something to do with this country, that somebody might be deliberately in the counterterrorism system that we employ around the world, deliberately withholding information no matter what the consequences might be. What do you think of that?
I know, it was a stunning statement, especially since Richard said that he had talked to people in the White House who are leaning towards that conclusion.
Well, my point exactly, Ariana. Thanks for bringing it up. Otherwise a knucklehead, but she noticed the important point. Richard had talked to the White House. The White House believes this. Richard reported it on the air. Then Rachel Maddow comes on right after Bathtub Boy, of course, and she had Richard Wolffe suddenly on the phone.
Is the prospect that intelligence was deliberately withheld by one part of the American intelligence community from another, either because of a grudge to make somebody look bad or for any other reason that put petty politics above national security. Is that, in fact, the path that this White House inquiry is going down?
That, I think, is 10 steps ahead of where the White House is right now.
Okay.
I just checked in with White House people again.
Just checked in with White House people again. Oh, that's right. White House people talk to MSNBC people while they're on the air. Remember, Ed Schultz confirmed that.
So Mika starts looking at her BlackBerry, and so does Scarborough, and obviously the White House is texting them or emailing them or whatever, and they didn't like the show.
So that's
outrageous.
This is what the White House thinks. They didn't like it was out there. They didn't like that Richard Wolffe announced it and made it public, that they are trying to divert attention from the president's failure on this terrorism threat to a conspiracy. But they think that the spy chiefs that are meeting with Obama today, there is a Judas in there who wants a knife in his back. Do you think it's possible President Obama was set up by someone in the intelligence agencies so he would look bad when this terrorist struck? Keaton in Austin, Texas.
If you'll remember, a similar situation happened like this during the campaign, the invasion of Georgia, when Obama was in in Hawaii, and McCain was standing by to look like the commander-in-chief. My guess it was orchestrated by Cheney. Maybe in this situation,
the Illuminati did it.
The invasion of Georgia.
It's the Illuminati, isn't it, Keaton?
The invasion of Georgia was orchestrated by Cheney. That is just unbelievably great. And
you guys are just stupid.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're stupid.
Look at what your friend Cheney.
Are you
doing
Buster
right now.
Keaton? Is that your first name?
All are the ones that need to round it up.
Hey, Buster.
Yeah.
Buster.
I'm serious.
Was 9/11 an inside job?
Well, you think Building 7 just...
Oh,
here's the rub.
Bingo!
You're a blithering idiot.
Did you call into Alex Jones' show yesterday?
Be an idiot. Stick your head in the sand, both of you.
Right.
But look for a UFO, goof.
Buster Keaton on the phone.
Think like him or pay a heavy price.
It is the energy of my thoughts which has touched your instruments and directed you here.
It's John Gibson.